Welcome to the Pest Empire Builder podcast. On today's episode, we're talking about integrating multiple companies, how inspection companies, pest control companies can all come together and help feed each other business. You don't want to miss this episode. And welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you tuned in today on Pest Empire Builder. We have a longtime inspector, pest control company owner who's been in the business for multiple decades. This is going to be a great episode. Donnie, I'm so glad that you tuned in today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's glad to be here.
Yes, sir. So where are you located, man? People are going to ask you here a little bit of a accent. I'm not sure. You tell me, where are you coming from?
Okay, a lot of people think I'm from the North Pole, but I'm actually from East Tennessee. We're located up next to the Smoky Mountains. We're actually right dead center of the true Tennessee Valley. I know out there where you're at, some beautiful country, but we've got our own kind of beauty out here, and probably one of the greatest assets around here is the people. It's a great place to be in this country.
Man, Tennessee is a beautiful place, man. I love the landscape, the people, the culture. It's pretty fantastic. I mean, I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico, so we're lots of desert, sand, cactus. We got some roadrunners and coyotes running around, but Tennessee is different for different kinds of beautiful is what it is, but it's beautiful there as well. Yeah, and it's funny because a lot of our audience will tune in via video, but some will only listen to the audio. And so if you do look, you have a very striking resemblance to Santa Claus, like your facial structure, you got the big white beard, you got the whole thing going. Do you play Santa Claus on movies or anything?
Not on any movies. We do a little bit of web stuff, but I do a lot of charity work through Santa Claus, and we do a lot of fundraising. We do a lot of marketing through Santa Claus. But Mr. and Miss Claus shows up in a lot of places.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. That is it's a lot of fun. I bet you get to bring a lot of joy into people's life through doing that.
We really do. There's a lot of blessings follow it too, because we do. Like I said, I do a lot of Santa Claus stuff. We just got through rolling out a little bit of Pink Santa. This is an October show, so we do a little breast cancer awareness stuff, and Pink Santa shows up at some of the events and a few things, but. It's a good deal. It's a good deal. I think we may be having a little bit of information trouble here on the internet, but I'll keep on talking because it froze up on my end, but I think everything's good. But anyway, I'm Donnie Bentley. I've been doing home inspections for 28 years now. We run a little outfit out here in East Tennessee. Right now we're running about 17 guys. We got a small pest control company that we're working with, but it's actually my fifth pest control company. And a lot of people like to mark it up to sell and stuff. Now, pest control companies sell real easy. They kind of have a market set value. So, but that's a little bit of my story, and I'll tell as much as you want to hear. So,
well, I love it. It's recently, I've been hearing a lot of chatter over the last few years about home inspection companies and pest control companies that send them, they'll the same owner, and they'll end up kind of sending business back and forth. But you've been doing this for a long time. When did you start your when did you start your home inspection company?
I started my home inspection company 28 years ago, and my first pest control company was 25 years ago, and it actually come out of you've always heard that some of the best blessings come out of the worst scenarios. I kind of got hung out to dry a little bit on a claim where that we'd missed termites, and my whole thing was we don't do termite inspections, but I still had to wade through all the water and went to mediation and all that stuff, and it just dawned on me. I said, if you're going to get yourself in trouble all the time over termites, why don't we just turn this into a profitable situation? So I went and found a couple of guys that was struggling in the pest control business, and I bought into me a small pest control company, and it's been a long story ever since. And one of the things now is the home inspection a lot of people are talking like it's something new, but I mean, I've been doing it for nearly 25 years, is taking the pest control and figuring out how to blend those two, because I know every state's different. So, I can't say there's a magic way to do it. But in Tennessee, it's very specific. Pest control, home inspection. And you know what? If you follow the law and talk to the right people, I would go ask them and say, what can I do? What can't I do? And they said, well, you got to do what the law says. Well, I said, well, that's not hard. Just do it. And it's been great for us. And as far as I know, I mean, I take credit for some things that, I don't get out and see what everybody else is doing, but I'm one of the first guys to ever do the complimentary pest service, because I've done that to sell more home inspections. That was the initial.
So how does that work? How do you do that? Because I know how, like, if you're buying a house, you're moving in, you inspect it. I see how you can get the business to go from the home inspection back to pest control. But how do you get business to go from pest control back to home inspection?
Relationship. Like I said, there's a bunch of basic business principles, and they're all based around the same thing as take care of your customer, treat people right, whatever. I mean, give them more value. I mean, we could sit and song and dance this for hours, but basically what we're doing is providing a service, giving them an opportunity, and basically the home inspection, most of our business from the home inspection rolls into the pest control side, okay? But then the pest control company becomes its own self-supporting business, and through all the relationships that you build through that, then the pest control company, and like I said, you got to take care of the people, but then you become a player in the pest control industry.
Nice. And so your inspection company is your last name, Bentley Home Inspections, correct?
Right.
Yeah. What's the name of your current pest control company?
BW, because the Weatherfords is the kid's last name. The daughter married a Weatherford, but B and W. But we promote Bentley family businesses because we do a lot of other things. So we tie it all together, and it back ends to one another, and it's been good for us. So
that's awesome. So you have other family businesses. What other businesses do you guys have?
We have a radon mitigation company, and we do that. We're actually started last year. Santa started installing Christmas lights. We kind of broke even last year, but we're starting the marketing campaign for it as we speak. So it's getting ready that's a seasonal thing. But like I said, the home inspection, the pest control, and the radons are primaries. But there's a few other just little things we do. We need to do some crawl space work, and we do some of those things. But
well, I like the Christmas light idea because you look so much like Santa Claus, and you do the Santa thing at charity events, and having Santa Claus come and do your Christmas lights. That's really brilliant. I like that a lot.
Use what you got. Yeah, Santa's Twinkle is the name of the company. So
nice. I like that. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. So does your market slow down more in the winter? I live in the desert, so it slows down a little, but not a lot. Some parts of the country, inspection business will slow down a lot because there's a lot of snow and it's harder to do it, and it's harder to buy and sell houses and whatnot. But do you guys have a big seasonal effect on inspections?
We do, but ours is pretty predictable. We always have that little slowdown when school starts. There's always a small dip there. Then we track back up a little bit. Then probably, I'd say about 2 weeks before Christmas, somewhere along there, we always have that downturn. And then the income tax checks start to come back out, and people getting the first couple of payments made off the credit cards from Christmas. Seems like housing market starts to pick back up. But we didn't trend down as much last winter as we had been.
Okay. And then on your pest control side, do you see a slowdown on your pest control in the winter as well, or does that stay pretty solid?
Well, it does slow down, but the pest control business we look at it as two different tracks. We've got the track where you have regular customers and you bill them out over 12 months and you service them quarterly, monthly, whatever you do. We do quarterly. But that part of the business doesn't change much. But now we do some mosquito work. We do some of the stink bug treatments and stuff. Those are seasonal. So right now the spike for spraying houses and stuff is going up for that part of the business. That will immediately drop off 30 days from now. It'll just completely go away. But, ants and those one-time calls, the yellow jackets, we don't have any of that in the wintertime. That part of the market just almost goes away. Now, we used to do a lot of commercial work. We don't do much commercial anymore, but the commercial work is a really good place to be for good, steady income. Profit margins for us wasn't as good, but it kept everybody paid through the winter time. Now, this last endeavor we're doing on the pest control, we have chosen not to do commercial other than maybe something small that we're doing. We didn't want to get into any of the big Section 8 housing and stuff. We just chose not to take care of that market.
Right. Well, and you've done this now a few times with pest control companies. You've built them up and sold them off and whatnot. So you've got enough experience in there to kind of know what you like to do and what you don't like to do. And there's some freedom in when you know that. You're like, I know this is my lane and this is the lane I'm going to stick in. And it gives you a lot of freedom and it gives you the ability to get really specialized in that lane as well.
That's it. Like I said, we were kind of specialized in a lot of the commercial market, but we just, and the money's really there. It's just the competition and the dealing with it. We just opted not to do it. That's not where, like I said, I'm not old yet, but I'm getting older and I don't want to do it. And then the people that I've got coming into place said they didn't want to fool with it. I said, well, we've sold it. Why not just move on? Let's just stay residential.
Nice. That's great. Do you do much commercial building inspections, or do you stick with houses on the inspection side too?
We do some commercial inspections, and I actually help a few people with some commercial stuff sometimes, but we don't have the big commercial buildings like a lot of people in some of the bigger cities do. We do a lot of multifamily. We got a lot of multifamily here. We do several of those over the course of a year, and we do a lot of shopping malls, one-stop shop stores, and that type of stuff. Done a golf complex not too long ago. That type of stuff. We do a lot of those.
Got it. Okay, so you're not doing the big high rises because you don't really have those where you're at.
They ain't but 12 high rises in my market area.
Yeah. Well, I mean. Yeah, that's true. How big of a market do you serve? How many people live in the market area you serve?
It's hard to explain this one to most people because we just traveled back from Houston a few days ago, and the city of Houston probably has more people than the whole state of Tennessee does. So,
right.
We rank real high in sprawl. Our houses. Most people around here we got a lot of people that live in neighborhoods and subdivisions, but we have a lot of people here that still live on farms on several acres of land, and they're even doing a lot of the density studies here. There's a lot of political push here to keep the density at a real low level. They don't want it in this part of the country. So we travel a lot. We actually, my market area is East Tennessee. We cover
like the whole half of the state.
A
third of the state. Wow, that's a big chunk, man. Like, so are you inspectors and applicators, your pest control the same way? Do you guys just all live in different parts of the area that you serve in, and they just kind of work out of their house then?
We hire people strategically located, to the goal is to have them drive less than an hour.
That's a good goal.
Yeah, well, we've got one guy that actually moved in here from California and works for us, and it was kind of funny. We told him, so he said, "How long will I be driving?" And we said, well, we try to keep everything with an hour. And the serious question from him was, what does an hour look like here? He come out of L.A. You know, an hour out in L.A. is 20 miles. An hour here is, if you drive 70 miles an hour, it's 70 miles.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say, like, places like L.A., even Houston, big cities. So I can kind of relate, right? So all of New Mexico, the entire state of New Mexico has about 2 million people in the entire state. So Houston has millions and millions. Like Houston, that city alone has more people than the entire state of New Mexico. And an Albuquerque metro area. Yeah, I get it. Albuquerque metro area is less than 1 million people. But once you leave Albuquerque, it's just desert. Like it's nothing but sand and cactus for hours. You can drive an hour or two in any direction and not hit something else sometimes. I mean, like little towns, but nothing to really speak of. And I imagine, there's Tennessee probably has some of that going too.
We do a lot of hours. We don't go for an hour and not see anybody, but you drive and you see one house, and then you drive and drive and drive and see 5 houses, and then you drive and you see 5 more houses, and we got a lot of that.
We get that.
Like I said, we do live on the national park border here, pretty close. So there's nothing from the national park all the way to the North Carolina side. So that whole market section right there, there's Cherokee National Forest and Great Smoky Mountains takes up all of that real estate.
So there's nobody out there. Yeah, there's stretches of highway here where you just won't see anybody or any buildings or nothing for a long stretch. But yeah, it's we're more rural, we're more spread out here too. And so you have to put for us, like we had to put kind of a defining boundary on where we're going to serve and not going to serve, and like if you pay us enough, we'll drive out there and do it. But most of the time, the extra fee to get out to where these places are is cost prohibitive on some people.
Another factor that we factor in, but besides time and distance, is who. If it's a good client that or customer that we've dealt with in the past, or a good real estate agent, we make it happen. So
that makes sense. Yeah. Who. Yeah, that is true. I think we kind of do some of that too. For some of our bigger referral agents, ones that send us more work, we might just, go just a little bit further, and someone we don't know is calling up and asking us to drive to that other itty bitty town in the middle of nowhere. We're like, yeah, that's probably not going to happen. So
yeah, but all the formulas you do for business and everything, most people never count that one in, but we count it in really big, because there's people that I've been doing business with for 20 years, literally. And most of the reason I've been doing business with them for 20 years is back when they needed something, I was the one that went out of my way to take care of. And that right there will do more for you than, anything.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? Like, no matter what business you're in, we're all ultimately in the people business, right?
Absolutely.
And you're right. You've been working with people for 20 years, whether it's in pest control or inspections, and now you've got a reputation, then they know you're reliable, and that if they need something, you'll take care of it. And I tell you what, like, that's true. I mean, sometimes the temptation is to make systems and processes rule the day, but there's got to be that human element to it, because systems and processes don't love people. People love people. And hopefully your systems and processes put you the guide rails to help you love people better and care for people better and take care of people better. But yeah, like there is that who side of things that does matter.
The systems and processes are very important, but they when you start doing all the KPIs and all the numbers that you want to stack in it, always leave room for that in there too. A lot of people forget to leave that space in it.
Yeah, well, you can kind of choke the life out of your business if you over systemize and over process. Then it feels like this giant machine that is soulless, and that's not like, we're all in the people business, so we got to make sure that we leave room for the people side of things and the human element inside of it.
Well, like I said, when I started, there was the goal system was totally different than it is today. Literally, when I started, we handwritten all of our stuff. Everything was handwritten. There wasn't word processors. I saw what what was the word processor before Word? Word Perfect. I remember when Word Perfect was the ultimate thing. And when digital photography come along, it changed the industry.
Oh my gosh.
Most of it was for the good, but it's like, where did this come from? Because like I said, I'm a dinosaur. I mean, I know most of the people that I started out with are extinct. I mean, really, they've either aged out or didn't make it or whatever. But and as you said earlier, we're all in the people business. And the way that I've always, I phrased this back before this terminology was cool. I'm in the taking care of people business. I just do home inspection and pest control as a means to do that.
Yep. No, I love that. It's true. We're all in the people business, just happen to kill bugs or tell you what's wrong with your house, right? Like it's just.
And this is how we do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've owned a number of businesses in my life, and at one point I owned a car lot, Well, I'm in the people business, but I just happen to sell cars. I was an electrician, It's like, well, I'm in the people business. I just happen to put wires in houses, Like it's just, we're all in the people business all the time. And I think people want to be taken care of. They want that relationship. They want to know that when I'm calling, I'm going to talk to a person. They're going to take care of me. They're going to, there's that human side of being cared for. Nobody wants to feel like just a number in the machine. That isn't a great feeling.
And when we first start talking about technology, like I said, pest control business, how do you send an email or a text or something and put the personal touch in it? But, one of the biggest things that we do, like in the pest control, is make sure that people are happy with it. And, a pest control company is kind of weird because if they're seeing bugs, they're not happy. But if they're not seeing bugs, they're happy, whether you did it or just nature did it. But, you have to do what their fear, their goal, their reason for having you is. You got to feed that need.
Absolutely. They don't want to see the bugs. They want the bugs out of their house. And that's right. They don't want bugs. Yeah. And yeah, that's so true. So helping take care of people. I love that. The people taking care of things, how has the pest control industry changed since when you first started to what we're doing now?
That's a good question. It's virtually the same. The biggest thing that I've seen difference is some of the new systems, some of the new products. They're we want to think they're safer. Let's be realistic. This stuff we use, there's some of it wouldn't bother me to eat some of it because I know what's in it. But ultimately, it's all pesticides. So using it right. There's been a big push. I don't know that it's kind of down a little bit, but don't hear much about it because they're not having the problems. It's pest management now more so than just application. Used to, It was put the stuff to it. If that don't work, put some more to it. Now it's assess the situation, see what you've got. Let's identify the pest. Let's make sure, that we're really using the product that's going to take care of it. But I think one of the biggest things that I've seen difference is the awareness of the products that we're using. Because, if we've got a good clean house and don't have any issues, we pretty much put everything outside. We don't put anything on the inside unless we need to. There's a whole lot of train of thought toward healthier people, healthier products. I see that. I guess it's probably the biggest thing I've seen different. But and then from the business standpoint, which I guess that's probably what people want to hear more about, is there's a lot of people in the pest control industry. I mean, depending on where you're at in the country, makes a lot of difference because, you've almost got to have it if you live in Florida. But then as you get farther north, the pest problems are different. Like I said, I've got a real good friend that owns a pest control company in New York, and they do a lot more rodent and cockroach control than we do because they're in those real dense populated places where we're more residential. Which, like I said, when we was doing the government housing, but cockroaches, if you get those things, and you're next door to somebody, then it's hard to get rid of them if the neighbor's, not taking care of their problem. So.
Right. Yeah. No. And very regional, like with pest control, different critters, different types of bugs, different types of things. I don't know how many scorpions you got to deal with out there, but here in New Mexico, we have to manage a lot of scorpions, black widows. It's pretty common stuff here. In other parts of the country, they don't see scorpions. They don't see black widows, but other parts of the country have lots of raccoons or rats or, mice. Mosquitoes are more or less a problem depending where you're at too, So you're right. It is a management, and you can't just spray like you did, and maybe you do, but there's, the actual, what we're doing with the pest control in the field, right? Some changes, but the back end office is where I think we've probably seen more and more changes and more growth. I mean, back in the 90s, figuring out your routes and where you're going to go, that was all on paper, I imagine.
It was. I'm telling you what, this the new softwares, it's amazing. Of course, sometimes you have the software can only read the mileage and read the stuff, but it's amazing how that it will tell you when you pick up a new customer, put it on the second Tuesday of next week, how that is. It will lay everything out for you, because density is your profit margin. If you can get 20 customers real close to one another rather than having 20.
Well, it looks like we officially got dropped on the internet. The internet wins today. So it was thanks for tuning to this episode. Donnie Bentley, East Tennessee. He's crushing it. Been doing it for 28 years. And we'll have his contact information in the show notes if you'd like to get in touch with him and see more of what he's doing. He has that unique approach of getting his pest control and his inspection company integrating in a very holistic way. He's been doing it for 20-something years. So if you're trying to build a pest control company and a home inspection company, or if you're trying to bolt on another business to your pest control company or home inspection business, Donnie might be a great resource to help you navigate that and how you can help feed business back and forth. Thank you again for tuning into the Pest Empire Builder podcast. I hope you have a fantastic day.